Okay, so today we will discuss about like what is Spring and their like modules. Okay. So basically Spring Boot is a sub-project of Spring and that simplifies the setup and configuration of Spring applications. It offers auto configuration, which automatically configures component based on the class path and embedded server and allow us to run application as standalone. Okay. Yeah. So this is one thing, and we have like Spring module is there also, and inside Spring module, we basically this Spring module we divided into multiple modules actually. So in that modules we have like Spring MVC, Spring Data, like Spring Security that comes under Spring module. Okay, that whatever you guys know, right? A Spring MVC that comes under Spring module. Basically, Spring module, like it is basically divided into multiple modules. Okay. We will see those modules. So each of module having their own purpose. Okay. So let's see some modules. Okay. Say we have Spring MVC. So basically this module, right? So basically this framework, right? So this framework basically provides to build web application and RESTful API. Okay. So next we have Spring Data. Okay. And Spring Data basically, so what Spring Data basically does? So basically it offers a data access and manipulation with support for various data source and database. Okay. Manu and like you basically need to know like what Spring security actually need for. Okay. Basically, Spring security, we actually, whenever we handle authentication and authorization and security related aspect, okay, to our application. So we, for that purpose, we need this Spring security. Okay. Okay. So basically, this Spring module have and that we have annotations. Okay, Spring annotation that we have. Yes, that we will see like separately we will go through those annotation. Okay, so for now we will see like what annotation and common annotations. So basically what annotations are for, like it is basically used for configuration and simplify the development. Okay. Like if you say like those annotations are for something, right? If we use those annotation that will leverage our code. Okay, because most of the code are inside those annotations. Okay, if you go separately, you will see annotations are there. So basically, Spring utilize this annotation for configuration and simplify development. Okay. So there's some common annotations like uh, and we use ampersand before using the, that's why this is called annotation. We give this annotation. Okay, these are the common annotations. Okay, that we actually used in every project or whatever we actually like deploy in project, right? And say like Spring having some other features also like the database access. So basically like what database access, like what Spring actually offer us. So basically like Spring offers support for database access through Spring data or JDBase connectivity. Okay. And the various ORM mapping like what you say like object relational mapping, right? So there we have say that framework we have in Hibernate as well as like Spring. Okay, that if you had that Spring data source, okay, that is also one kind of ORM, and that Spring data source that is like it is by default Spring framework. Okay. And various like ORM that is happy. Like we say Hibernate. And so there's a lot of modules are present there. Okay, lot of features you can see. Like there is separate security is also there. Okay, like Spring Security that provides authentication and authorization features. Okay, for security for application. Okay, that whatever we actually know here, right? So and REST support also, like REST support means those RESTful APIs we actually creating. Okay, these are the MVC pattern that follows. Okay, that's so. And these are the things. Okay, at present. Okay, MVC pattern you will see like first. Okay, that we know, right? So let's see, like if I want to create a project, right? So how I can do that? So for do like if you already like have this Eclipse, right? So everyone having like their own ID, right? Code viewer, right? So I having my own ID. So this is Eclipse ID. So at first, so I need to install this STS, right? Spring Starter. No, I will show everyone like how you can set up this Spring Starter project. Okay. So first of all, you will go to this Eclipse market over here. Okay. After going there, so this pop-up window will come here and it will load. Okay, for the server marketplace. After loading, you can find over here. Okay, that Spring Tool Suite. You will search for it. So basically, my connectivity is quite slow. Right? Okay. So here you can just type a Spring Tool. So, okay, and hit go. So there we have, right. I already installed it. You guys need to install it in your like Eclipse workspace. Okay. So here after installing this, okay, now you have to come over here, file. Okay. Now go to new, and there I have already right here where it is Spring Starter. Okay. Not here. So I will go to others, and here it will create a Spring Boot. Okay, for me. And now I have to go inside here and I can select a Spring Starter project. So after going inside, right? So it will ask for write a new project. Okay, so I have to specify my project name over here. So let's say, okay, user management. So project type, like the project type. Okay, this is like Maven. Okay. So basically, this Maven is a project manager. Okay, if you already know, it will do what it will, like whatever your project is missing, like missing dependency or whatever it is, it will check for it and it will inform you, or it will like auto inject those things. Okay, like auto compilation is there. Okay, like it will do. And what version of Java you are using? Okay, so I have like Java 17 in my system, so I'm using Java. So now here you can say group name. So give some group name.
Sir, group, sir, what is group name?
Yeah, group name basically, if you say like this is like a group, right? So you will going to give some group name. Okay.
Sir means those who are make the project, yeah, the project member, yeah, what is?
Yes.
Sir, I didn't understand group name.
Basically, like it is like attribute. You can say like it is like Maven, right? So the ID like project group. It is actually okay. Like ID of the project. Okay, like you are going to mention like artifact. Okay, the name of the project. Okay, that artifact ID you are going to see like inside the project. Okay, when it will create like artifact ID. Okay, like your project name is going to be there. Okay, it need to be given. Okay, need to be given. You will see. Like I will show you. Okay, so first group ID. You still didn't get it right. So basically like what you say like it denotes the package name also like the package name. Okay, like artifact. Okay, that denotes the application name. Okay, so basically the default group name is com.example always. Okay, and you can say like you can give anything but it will denote as your package name. Okay, that group. are you are you cleared?
No,
Okay,
sir.
say
Sir, package name means we.
package is here, right? So I will come to this. Okay,
Okay,
so
okay, sir.
package name quite different you need to give. Okay, you need to follow some rules as per your company. Okay, if you
Okay,
are working in some companies. As per the now, so you just remember this group is basically denote the package name also. Okay, so we will
okay,
see
sir.
that. Say management and okay, testing purpose. Okay. So say like this
Sir,
package, right? So it is always considered as like this com is refers to company. Okay, so company dot company name. Okay, so now I am in PCS global, right? So it is following this naming.
sir,
Yeah,
sir, version means.
yes. What?
Sir, version.
So basically, it is a snapshot version. If you see, right? So this version is basically like so. If you say like version is quite what you say. So is basically like this version is like snapshot, right? So how can I explain this thing to you? Like
One thing that
it's like how I could like
version. Hello.
it is altering the spring boot like whatever we have here, right? Type. So this type having its version, this Maven, so it having some version or a configuration plugin to generate the build of this application, right? So it
Hello.
will, yeah,
Yeah, version is. You can say the version is for the pom.xml file. It
yes,
is defined in pom.xml. Version is
yeah,
the version number is the product version. That means the snapshot is one type of product in Maven.
yes, that
Yeah,
you can
that's
say, yeah,
that is the snapshot. Is snapshot version is 1 0.0 0.0.1. That is the version. But It can update. It can update.
Okay, sir.
Okay, after next it will ask for dependencies. Okay, so these are the dependency injection you can do from here also. Okay, so this MySQL driver, right? So it will like we need this to connect to our database, right? So here I'm selecting the Spring Boot Dev Tools, right? It is having like it's provides application restart. Like we don't need to restart manually; it will auto restart for us. Okay, Spring Data JPA. It is like all the Hibernate and that SQL query we are having, right? So if you see here, it will perform those uh, Java persistence. Okay, so these are the things we need. So after that, we just hit finish. Okay. Uh, Next. So it should create a project here. Okay. User management. So go inside user management. It's still right. It is creating. Just wait for this. Okay. Loading. And after 100, it will already almost create it. You will see like every file
Sir,
will be there. Yeah.
sir, in Spring project, can we add the Java JDBC driver? Yeah, automatically it is added.
Yeah, we need to add. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Like we are going to use that dialect command, right? Dialect property. Have you know that dialect, right? That is Hibernate property we have. So there we can say like driver, and we will like basically we will use that ORM. Okay, object relational mapping to locate our JDBC driver and all. Okay. And before that, if we want to like JDBC driver, what version we need to install that driver? For that, you can separately download that JDBC driver jar file and you can do import in your class path. Okay. So basically, yes, it is already created. And if you go here in prompt XML, so here you can see those model and here you have snapshot version. Okay. This is a version username having. Okay. So basically that group ID, this is group ID artifact user manager. Okay. Here you having all your dependencies, like whatever dependencies you are going to inject or whatever, you can do here manually. Okay. So here we have Spring DevTools dependencies. Okay. So these are the dependencies. Okay. So we have MySQL connector J that you already familiar with this, right? So this is a need for to connect our this program to our database, right? This application to our database, we need this connector. So here we actually pass our dependencies in from.xml file. Okay. Uh, like where we actually give our connection, right? So if you come to in Java, right? So if you see here, we have one Java folder, one resource folder, right? So basically, whatever program we are going to like have, so MVC pattern. So we will see how MVC pattern we will create. Okay. So basically here, so package name what we gave actually com.pcsgpl. So here it's created and inside this package we have our main class. Okay. And if you see, right, this class having main method. Okay. and it's having some Spring Boot application annotation, and we will see like what this annotation actually does. Like, see what this Spring Boot application class annotation, it's having its own configuration inside it. Okay, own method, own. Okay, so basically this thing we don't need to do separately. We just need to like give the annotations. And so yeah, so everyone got it right. So how we actually deploy a Spring Starter project. Okay, and where we need to give those dependencies. Okay. If we need some extra dependencies, we can give here, or there is another way. We can download the jar of the dependencies. Okay, and we can separately export those jars over class path. Okay, so here right click on the project, and here you can see this where it is like build path. Okay, so go configuration build path, and here you see library. So library, there is a class path. Okay, after clicking class path, come over your right side, and here you see this add external jar. You can go add external jar and choose. You can choose your external jar from wherever you just have, right? So in case of mine, I have some, I think what hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
My system, it's not responding. Just for a minute.
I think it's a network issue.
I think my system got slow. It's going to close everything. Yeah. So, basically, see, like here in Hibernate, right? So we are going to see like how we actually going to install this Hibernate. Okay, and like there is some properties we will need to get access, and that properties are inside this Hibernate. Okay, so and so like
Pardon,
Hibernate,
sir.
yeah.
Sir, hibernate means?
Yeah, basically, if you see, right, so what is Hibernate, right? So basically, it is a ORM. Like if you say uh, Hibernate is basically relational mapping, which is ORM framework for Java application. So it simplifies the tasks of working with relational database. Okay, by providing an abstraction layer or over JDBC. Okay, and so basically Hibernate includes some mapping Java object to database table like card operation it's perform. Okay, create, read, update, delete. This operation it can done by Hibernate. Okay, so there are some property we actually have. So if you know, right, some common properties have like connection properties and like Hibernate behavior property. Okay, so in connection properties, like we use to configure the database connection settings. Okay, they definitely like Hibernate connects to our like relational database. Some of like properties you can say that Hibernate dot connection dot driver class. Okay, and like Hibernate dot connection dot URL. Have you heard those properties? Okay, let's see. So where was so basically, if you say like if you want to import build path, go to class path, add external jar. So I have some. So you see, like I have SQL connector Java, so I can add this. So basically, I need Lombok. So I can add by like this. Okay, so it is now added. Okay, apply and apply close. Okay, so if you see like reference library, I have Lombok. Okay,
Sir,
and if you come to
sir,
prompt, yes,
sir, can we add
yes, add what?
any connector? Yeah, sir, any restriction to connect to add connector? Sir, connector, sir. Any
Yeah,
connector we can add.
connector. Yeah. So basically, yes, we can like that connector, right? So that connection we are going to declare right somewhere. We are going to declare that connection into source. Okay. Uh, Using the hibernate, we are going to like there we will see like say like you need to know first what hibernate is. Okay. Okay. Happening to my system. So what is hibernate? Let's see. So Hibernate is popular object relational mapping framework, okay, for Java application. And it is like simplifies the tasks of working with the relational database by providing an abstraction layer over JDBs. Okay.
Hello, hello everyone.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah, I shared the attendance link. Please give the attendance, okay,
Okay, sir.
in chat box.
So basically, Hibernate is a popular object relational mapping framework for Java application. It simplifies the tasks of working with relational database by providing an abstraction layer over JDBs. Okay. So basically, it includes mapping Java objects to database table and performing this card operation that we already know: create, read, delete, and update. Okay, so where we can like do this. Okay. So let's come to the project. Okay. Let's let's come to the. So first of all, you need a connection, right? So first of all, you need a database for connection. So let's go to the database. Okay, so here I have database. So create one schema. So let's create a schema. Give user management schema. Apply it. User management created. So you having this user management scheme. So come to the project. Uh, uh, we will set connection inside this application dot properties. Okay. So and like that you need to know, right? So there we also have like Spring data source. Okay. So if you already know like Spring data source, like it is also in Spring application. Okay. And it is like say, basically like we use this Spring data source like to use to connect to our database, or like to like the data source provide the necessary connection, right, to the database. So we like use Spring to like combination with ORM framework like Hibernate, okay, to interact with the database. Okay. Okay. Spring dot dot say URL after like say equals to, and you have to give your connection like default URL of your JDBC. Okay, right. So for me, like I have JDBC colon. Okay, so if you are using MySQL, right? So this is for MySQL only. Okay, and there are different database like and they having their own syntax. Okay. Like JDBC, this is the common. Okay, JDBC MySQL colon double forward slash, and you have to mention your that in which local host your server is running, right? So you having your MySQL server, right? So MySQL server, so that server you need to give. So port and server. Okay. So that port I having 3306 is the default. Always default port is 3306 for MySQL. And after this, like this is the syntax, right? That URL you are going to pass. So after that, what you need to do, you need to mention the schema name, like which schema you are going to connect. So here I just created user management, right? Next, we have like driver. So someone asking for driver. So yes, we have to set up the driver also. So here we have the like properties called string.data.driver class name. Okay, driver hyphen class dot name. Okay. So say string data source dot say driver. See like string data source driver here. Okay. And you can say like your driver. So dot. So this is my driver. Okay. So this is the driver. Now you have to like give the like when you are going to like open the database, right? So it asks for some login and password, right? So username and password. So same thing, you have to give the credential of your database, right? You have to going to connect this application to your database. For that, you have to give the credential of your database. Okay. Uh, Same like Spring data source, Spring dot data source. There is username. Okay. Yes. Anyone saying any?
In which file we create our application content.
Your voice is breaking somehow. Yes. Hello, Vikas. Yeah, your voice is breaking.
Sir, in which file we create our application front end?
I didn't get you. Like which you are asking me like front end in
Yes,
which
sir.
technology
Yes,
we are going to deploy.
yes.
So basically our backend will be in Spring framework, right? Spring Boot, we are going to deploy our backend. All the logics are going to implement it in Spring Boot and using the MVC pattern. Okay. And we will discuss the project architecture later. Okay. So next in front end, we are going to like use Angular. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Angular
No,
framework.
no, sir. Sir, in which file we create our front end?
Like I didn't get you. Like which
Sir,
Angular framework having like its own TS component and having own HTML component also.
okay,
Okay, so yes,
okay,
for front end there need to be some HTML file there. Okay,
okay, okay, sir.
need to work with HTML also. HTML, CSS, those are the common thing. Okay, but framework you need to know. So there is Angular, React. Those are the framework you need to.
Okay, sir.
Now we are actually going through backend portion. Okay, we are
Okay,
understanding this backend how Spring actually works.
yes, sir.
So basically, we are going to connect our database to our application. Okay, for that we need to mention username and password of our database. I have some user credential. Okay, and dot resource dot password. Suppose I have some password. If you don't give right password or correct username, it will not connect. Okay, I will say like say at next what we need to do, we need to like mention our like uh, what that MySQL property I have like dialect. Okay, so you need to know like dialect, what dialect actually is. So basically like have you heard of like dialect properties, right? So if you heard that hibernate dialect or anything, right? So say this and I will say you right before I will go to this uh, property. So there is like dialect property is there. Okay, so basically what dialect do, like SQL dialect is for like database. Okay, it allows hibernate to generate appropriate SQL statement for the chosen database. Okay, whatever like basically hibernate will do perform for you, right? So you no need to give all the queries, right? So basically dialect will do the SQL statement for the chosen database. Okay, you need to so say string dot jpa dot properties dot hibernate dot dialect. Okay, what it is saying. Okay, so jpa. MySQL 5. This is the version. Okay. And so next, what we have like what we have like DDL auto properties. Okay, hibernate. So basically, like what it is, it will do, right? So there is like hibernate DDL. Okay, so say string DBA auto. Right. So basically, like this property is like controls the database schema generation, like update and like it includes create, update, create, drop, validate, like none. These are the properties. Say create. Okay, we have create, create, drop, right? So like that, we have like the update also update. Okay, say like we have validate also. Okay, say validate. Okay, these are the properties. So what this actually controls the database schema generation update. Okay, so if you say, right, I will do create and drop. So after execution of your program, if you run this, it will auto create and drop your alt table. Okay. If you have any table inside your schema, so it will create and drop. At the end of the day, you don't have any table there. Okay. So basically, we normally set it update. Okay. This will do update. And say like string, and we have like that show SQL. Okay, JPA show SQL that we need to give true. Okay, so say string JPA. So so basically this show SQL, right? This is actually we set this to true, right? To log the SQL statement executed by Hibernate. Okay, so whatever the SQL statement that Hibernate is going to execute, right? It is actually like logged into like SQL. Okay. Okay, so line by line come to the Hibernate and say, so basically like today's session, it will extend quite long. Okay. Uh, say Hibernate, right? So basically we see Hibernate, what is Hibernate? And if you know, right, it actually have like various properties, like various version, right? Different version having different properties. Okay, like a newer version having some new features. Okay, new properties. Oh, so first we will see like there's a like we can differentiate those properties. Okay, like we have connection properties. Okay, say okay, connection properties. So within connection properties, we have certain properties that is like commonly used to connect our database. Okay. Say like we have this Hibernate connection driver class that you already see, right? So this is like driver class name. Okay. So this is already like Spring data source using this ORM, the Spring data source ORM. And here's Hibernate is okay. So say so basically this property will do what? Like this basically JDBC driver class name for database. Okay. like we say like specify the JDBC driver class name for database that we are using right now. That like those who are using MySQL, they will do that property for MySQL only, and those who are using SQL or NoSQL, they having different like uh, corresponding property for their database. Okay, so say for example, I'm using MySQL, right? So this is one thing. Okay, this is one property. Say next property we have, and say like this Hibernate connection, right? The driver class, and say this whatever the class, right? You using, right? So you're using say MySQL, right? Database. So for that we should like give, that is the property com dot, it will auto generate for you like com MySQL JC dot JDBC driver. Okay. So basically this is the driver class, right? So the common driver for this MySQL, right? So this is the common driver. Com, sometimes it applicable CJ or sometimes it will run without CJ. Okay. That vary. Okay. That is the driver, right? That what I have given here. So next. So next we have like connection URL, connection username and connection password, right? Using Hibernate. Okay. And we have pass. So it basically do what? Like it specifies the JDBC URL that identifies the database server and the specified database to the connect to connect to. Okay. So let's say so it specifies the JDBC URL that identifies the database server and the specific database to connect to. Okay. like here you are like specifying like in which database you are going to connect, right? As you can see, right, I am here in URL. I just specify, right, I just going to connect this URL. After that, it will go this schema. Okay, like I specify there my schema. So the username will do what, like it is used to connect to the database. Okay, the username used to connect to the database, and password for specified database, like what database we are connected to. Like basically, this is like if you have different host, right, inside one database, if you have different instance running, right, so for that you just need like need to give the like which database instance you are working with. Like I have one instance. So, so these are the some common properties that we need to know, right? Because this actually need in our project, in every project, to connect to our database if we need connection, right? So, so basically like Hibernate, right? Why we need Hibernate? So if you already know, right, when we actually use the sublet JSP, right, that case, like when we give the connection, we actually create a different class, right? And there we call the connection like we are calling those connection, right? Here are a different thing, right? Connection, we are calling those connection, and after that we are performing those for name and a class driver, right? So there is another thing we are going to get driver manager. So basically we no need to like do that, all those labor. And that's why here we have Hibernate, right? We don't need to create a different connection class and all and declare all the connection and get queries, all those things. Okay. So here we do those Hibernate properties to perform this. Okay, so let's see. Okay, that's all good. That this is a connection. Okay, and as you say, my username is good, and here, so let's say everything and come to the main here. Okay. So let's try to create one package like entity. Okay, create one entity package, right? Or say model. Okay, model or entity. Okay, both are same thing. Okay, if you say. Okay. Basically, like we prefer most of the time we prefer entity. Okay, over model. But if you say like those are the same things, model and entities are the same things, but it basically we chose entity over model. Okay, it sounds appropriate. Okay. And inside entity we have like some class, Pojo class that we select class. say this user management, right? So that entity we have user, and what we know that class name, whatever we creating Java class, right? So starting should be capital, and we don't need any main method because this application is already having its main method inside this, right? So let's say user, create user. So now we have entity. Okay, so let's do some. Let's give some entities like say private and ID, right? User having its ID, uh, private, some user having its name, right? Name.
Sir, name type, sir.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, right.
String type,
Yeah, yeah, correct.
string, private string.
Yeah, right. So now user can have write a name. Okay, username. So say number, phone number. Okay. Okay. So these are the field user having, right? So now say we are going to say annotation. We are going to use those annotation to simplify, like to give the identification, like what this class is, like this is carrying all those entities, right? So we will annotate this by entity and entity annotation. So you need to import this, right? Entity. And after entity, right? So you have to mention, right? So you have to give those table name, right? Table annotation for like which table it is going to save, right? So table, and inside this bracket, like parenthesis, we are going to mention those like whatever table name I want, right? Name equals to say within double quote. Okay, say any name that you want to, like say user having user table. That- And whatever name you are giving right here, it will create a table for you, like same name, it will create a table using this name for you in your database. Okay, here now this schema having no tables, right? If you see it giving me some option that it having that create table, like it saying me like you need to create a table, there is no table. Okay, so say like, so you have to give annotation. Okay, so ID having some annotation you need to know. So there is a called ID annotation. Okay, so what ID annotation do, right? So basically, if you say right ID, this is a ID annotation. If you say ID annotation. So basically, what ID annotation do? Like ID annotation is used to mark a field in a entity class as a primary key. Okay, like its corresponding database, right? So whatever its corresponding database, it will mark as a primary key in that database. Okay, are you getting? So now say generated value. Okay, and you say like what generated value is like. generated value annotation is used to specify the strategy for generating unique value for the primary key of the entry. Sorry, of the entity. Okay. Now, after hibernation, right? So these are the properties. Okay, let's see here. I'm coming to that hibernate. So basically, what now you say generate generated value, right? So this is a one method. And say strategy. So generation type, what we need? We need identity. Okay. So it is generating ID value, right? So basically, like what we know, like ID and generated value. So if I come to annotation, right? So here we see, right? Those are the common annotation we actually performing. Okay. And if we come to annotation, so left this like quite aside. Okay. So connection properties we already, and there's some other properties we will see. So there's connection property and some like hibernate behavior property. We will see that later. And that behavior property we already discussed, like dialect and auto. That this is the dialect where it is. This dialect, right? This DDL auto, this show SQL true. These are the hibernate behavior property we can say. Okay. So coming to the project. Okay. So user. So what is ID and generated value? Right. So say annotation. We have some certain annotation like say uh, ID. So basically ID, what ID will do, right? So basically this say the annotation ID, sorry, yeah, ID annotation. Okay. Of corresponding database. Yeah, okay. So basically, like each entity must have ID, right? So like say must have a primary. Okay. And what we know, like we can assign those primary key by using those ID annotation. Okay. And this ID annotation, this ID annotation. is used to specify which field serves as a unique identifier for that entity. Okay. Entity class. Okay. And like generated value, right? We have this generated value. So what this generated value and strategy generation type, right? So basically, like if you see, right, so it is generating, it's going to generate some random value, right? So ID is already right primary key, but it will generate automatically. Okay, this ID is automatic generate. So there is some generated value need to be given, right? So generated value basically like this annotation is basically used to specify the strategy, right? Strategy for generating unique type, right? Unique value for primary key, right? I chose like ID. Okay. And it basically like typically used to combination with ID and what you say like generating a primary key value such as identity, sequence, table, and auto. Okay, if you see right here, auto is their identity, sequence. Those are the table. Okay, not table, you can say like those are the what you say like value. Okay, that primary key need to be some value, right? Those are the identity or like sequence. Okay. And basically this identity, right? So generation type identity, like it actually like in database, it will do the auto increment mechanism. Okay. Like this generation type identity, it will perform the like auto increment mechanism. Okay. So, and you have to annotate uh, those field also. Okay. So for this, like these are going to be in column, right? So we need to specify this column, and you have to specify like say column for this ID also, column, and you can specify the column name. Okay, there you need to import the column from Jakarta consistency. A name equals to, and here whatever name you are going to give, it will create a column for you with that name. Okay, say like name. Okay, I am giving the name. Okay, and of it, and same way, and say this phone and address, right? So now same way I'm just mentioning my column here for ID. That column name will be ID. Okay, and I need a like string, right? I need a string and like two string or constructor for this, right? Constructor and like getter setter method for this, right? So come over here and say I can do like manually or I can do like using Spring framework. Okay, so manual take time like if I say, right, I'm having this class, right? So manually, if you say public user, this is the constructor I'm creating. Okay. So and that constructor having those parameters, right? So ID, name, and those parameters this constructor having. So say like and constructor, yeah, this is superclass constructor we created and public user then and not be loaded, right? So int say ID here, right? So string name int. So I'm like what I'm doing here, I'm like creating a constructor using this field. Okay. So the last we what we have addressed. So string. Okay, so in case of right say whenever you are going to like what you say right whenever you are going to create some new data, right? So for that, this ID is going to auto increment it, right? So for that, you are going to create a separate constructor that doesn't have that ID. Okay. Yes. So say like this now using this and say ID equals to ID. So like this dot name equals to name. This is one way you can do it, and there is another way you can do it. Okay, so this is the one way you can do the constructor, and here you can, if you see this source menu, right? Go into source, and you can see here generate constructor using fields. Go to there, and there I deselect this ID, and I will do generate. And it will do the same thing for me. I don't need this. So now what we need getter setter method. I will do this time and the getter setter method. So here I have getter setter method. Okay. So what it is saying, right? It is ID uh, is already private times. So what we need to do this publicly. Uh, okay, so basically it's I think it's done, right? So let's try to run this, okay, and see what it is showing. Okay, let's try to run this. Uh, run And so here what it is saying, some error happened, creating being name define task. Okay. So it's like is it asking me to go for the repository? Okay, let's try to do create. Unable to load class tag file. Okay, so it is unable to load. Right?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, yes.
I think jar is not added, sir. I think.
Jar is not added. Right? Hibernate. Yeah, okay. But I think Hibernate I have default is already set up in my system. We have, I think, here I already have Hibernate. I don't think so. This Hibernate having was is suppressed. Loss is basically suppressed. Hibernate. Okay, strategy. See. Okay, so if you see, right, guys, so see like create table, user table. Okay, and ID integer not null auto incremented. Okay, address varchar, this is by default, name is varchar and phone number integer. And there is primary key, I have ID. Okay, got it. It is already applied in here in the database. Okay, if I refresh here, there's before refresh, there is nothing, right? So the and here we have some tables. Here you can see that user table, whatever name we actually give here, right? Whatever name we mentioned here, actually like created as per whatever we mentioned. Okay, let's, let's select from rows, and there we have this column, right? So basically, the Hibernate, what it is doing, it will perform for you. This Hibernate. Okay. Okay. So everyone got this right. So how Hibernate actually works. So there's some annotation you need to know, right? It's today actually. Okay. Okay, so basically like this you will give the connection. Okay, these are the hibernate properties and say like annotations is there. Okay, so come like we have second thing, right? Say like we have hibernate behavior. Okay, so basically in hibernate like say okay, basically like basically these properties like control various aspect of hibernate behavior and how it interact with the database actually. Okay, so basically like there say we have hibernate dialect. So basically like it specifies the SQL dialect of the database that we are using. Okay, that's you see right in my case right here. So there is like SQL 5. So that is the version like in SQL also like there are some different version, right? If you are using some different version of MySQL, so you need to mention that. Okay. So So basically, it allows Hibernate to generate appropriate SQL statement for that database. Okay. Okay. So, like say here we have Hibernate. So basically, what it will do, right? Hibernate ADL Auto. It controls the database schema generation and update. Okay, and so it includes like create. Okay, so basically it includes create, say create, update, create, drop, validate. Like these are the command this having. Okay. So it includes say so these are the things. Okay, yeah, well, okay, validate. Okay. So if you say right, if we use this create drop, so what it will do? Say I'm using instead of update doing create and drop. So let's save it and run it. Okay. So we see that we having our tables. So let's do it. So you can see, right, it actually created, okay, and again it like after creating it performed drop table. Okay, if you come to database, if I refresh it, so say like there is no table right now. Okay, so it will perform what create and drop. Okay, got it. We always use update. Whatever column we are going to create or whatever things we are going to do, we can update. Okay. So like that's it. Yeah. And there we have another property, right? So this is show, show SQL. This is Hibernate show SQL. We have this. So if it we said this true, right? So basically Hibernate will log the SQL statement that are executed. Okay. This is basically useful for debugging and understanding the generated SQL queries. Okay. So basically, like what it does, like if we set this true, so Hibernate will log the SQL statement that are executed, right? So basically, this is useful for debugging and understanding the generated SQL queries for like that Hibernate is doing, right? Okay, like we already see like a hibernate, right? And okay, so you guys understood, right? How we actually connecting our database to using hibernate. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah, that's all for today. Okay. And let me stop.